What's up, guys? Welcome to Dr. Love's Disc Golf. Today I'm going to take you through a quick 18 holes at Warriors Path Park in Kingsport, Tennessee. We're going to play the cliffside layout, and this is just going to be a quick voiceover of the round. We're just going to start out with hole number 1. It's going to be 362 feet. I'm just going to be throwing a Champion Wraith here, and just going for a nice, smooth up the middle, gently finishing to the left. This hole kind of snakes a little bit. I ended up pretty good, but have a little berg approach here, which I left slightly short, and then it hit a tree and kind of rolled back into this little alley back here. Luckily, it's only about 10 or 15 feet, so it shouldn't be too hard to cash in for the birdie. And then we're going to move to hole 2, 503-foot par 4. You pretty much just want to have something straight in the middle of the fairway as far as you can get. I'm going to throw a Dynasty here. It's a little bit flippy for me, so I'm going to be going with a hyzer flip, which turns over, kicks some branches. Luckily, it kind of just sits down in the middle and doesn't leave me too bad. I've got a berg upshot here. You guys are going to be seeing a lot of that disc as I leave it about 30 short here, just getting around the corner. Got about a little bit, I think it's a little bit inside the circle, but either way, we cash that in for a quick birdie, and we're 2 through 2. Let's go to hole 3, 269 feet, par 3. A very tight gap off the tee pad here. I'm going to be throwing a Millennium Draco, and just a little foreshadowing here. I do make it through the first gap, but do not get anywhere near the basket. I only make it about halfway up the fairway. Kind of couldn't believe it. So I'm setting up a little berg X shot here. Still about 150 out. So just taking my time lining that up. Throw it through those trees. I ended up kicking and ending up still about 10 feet away. And I just went to throw a couple little practice shots here. And ended up just absolutely killing the last one. So on to the putt here. This is just for par. I'm gonna go ahead and save that par and move on to the next hole. We've got hole 4, 201-foot par 3. This is pretty scenic. I didn't actually bring the camera back there. I wanted to set up for the ace run, which I then proceeded to throw into this middle tree here and kick about 30-35 feet from the basket. So I'll have this for my birdie. And I ended up making that one. And moving on to hole 5. It's a 360-foot par 4, kind of S-shaped. You want to throw something, if you're throwing righty backhand, you want something just to drift over that hill and maybe fight its way back. I'm going to be throwing a lefty sidearm here with a deflector. And it is just going to cruise through the woods and give me a nice, probably 70-ish feet for an upshot here. This is actually way more uphill than it looks on camera, but took my time lining this one up and then ended up just kind of spoiling it with a little tree kick here. I don't know what I was doing. So a couple more practice shots and I will get up there and tap in easy birdie. This hole definitely is challenging. If you don't get off the tee pad, it can be a very difficult hole. Moving on to hole 6, 198 feet. It's downhill, so I decided to put the camera down here and try to get a cool angle. And just like the other holes, hole 4 rather, I sort of left it short here, hit a tree, bounced down to about 45 feet. Threw a few more shots on this, and this was just messing around. Just a little chain out on the backside. So I had to walk down the hill and line up my 45-footer here for another birdie. And it looks like I am able to convert on that one. And we will I was pretty excited about that one actually. Take hole 7 here, and yeah, hole 7, par 3. It's just kind of a turnover putter shot for me. I've seen some people who have righty forehands go at it that way, but fortunately, I do not have the righty forehand or the lefty backhand to do so. Hit a tree pretty early. Nothing but a little berg pitch up here. Luckily, I kind of hit that tree, so I didn't get a ground play past it. Easy tap in for the par, though, and we'll move on to hole number 8. Hole number 8 is a 451 foot par 3. I'm going to be throwing my Halo Valkyrie here. Really love these things. How straight this line holds. And I thought I was going to be in the trees at the very end of the fairway, but I did get pretty lucky and end up just about 15 feet away from the pin. See if I can give it a good little bid here. And of course not. Can't make them all. This is definitely one area that I need to improve in. You guys will definitely see some pretty horrible missed putts, but we're going to put that one behind us and just move on to the next hole. Hole 9, 204 foot par 3. I put the camera down by the basket again, wanted to get this line, and it's a nice little turnover shot. I was able to put myself in the circle here and just tap in the easy bird and move on to hole 10. And that is a hole 10, 212 feet. It's uphill to the left. I'm going to be trying to go with a little sidearm through this first gap, which I pured. And then this one actually skips past the basket and then rolls. Luckily, that roll was only to right there. So, I'm still in the circle and I'm able to tap in that birdie and move on to hole 11, the 292 foot par 3. I'll be throwing a Cosmic Fury here. And what you can see right there is actually the short pin for this hole. So I'm trying to throw past that and end up just clipping some roots and bouncing a little bit forward. Still just inside the circle, and I chain out to the left. And that was just a lazy putt pretty much. So I'm going to go ahead and just tap in for my par here and forget about that one as I move on to the 335 foot par 4. Actually, this thing takes a pretty hard turn. So I went ahead and threw past the camera here. You guys will actually see I get a pretty good little out right here. I'm going to be approaching with my Berg, which you guys will pretty much see on every other approach shot. I throw the Berg a lot, and this is why right here. I'm able just to put it on that little Annie. It flexes right out of the basket. And I decided with the Berg X just to give it just a little bit of a run. And I actually end up hitting the band. Oh well. So this is just going to be a tap-in birdie. And we will move on to hole 13, which is dead straight, 248 feet. You just got to keep it perfectly in line the whole entire way. And I hyzer my Cosmic Fury straight into a tree about halfway down the fairway. No problem though, because I've got the Berg to come to the rescue here and put me close. Just right to it for a tap-in par. And we move on to hole 14, 386 feet. It's pretty much a turnover, or if you have a righty forehand, some people do that. I'm going to go this little inside gap, and I actually just went up a little too high, caught a tree, and dropped back in the middle of the fairway. So we're bringing the Berg out once again, try and make a run at it. No. And then I actually hit a tree, just a terrible shot. So I've got this long putt for a, and I save on that one and end up going to 15, which is just this short little downhill to the right. I'm going to turn over my Cosmic Fury here, and I end up throwing it into the ground a little bit. I just love leaving myself just, outside circle for these prime opportunities to make putts. So with this long downhill bid, does not quite go in the basket and then rolls about 15 feet behind it. I look shocked, but I knew it was going to happen. So I tap in my par and move on to hole 16. 238 feet, just a little downhill turnover, backhand, or if you're me, you just throw a Berg and you end up with this right here, which you think I would make, but no. So we tap in a par, and we go to hole 17. 17, 442 feet. Pretty fun hole, actually. I'm just going to try to blast a wraith right up the middle, and I end up just throwing it into the ground. I do get a pretty good skip here. It was very fortunate. Skipped forward to where I've got a shot now. I've got a long forehand roller with a Draco. We're scrambling. And I ended up throwing a really good forehand roller. You can see it just go around the corner there. And the basket is just right there. We're going to see if I can save a birdie here. And we got the birdie. Anyway, on to hole 18, 543 feet. You have to lay something up this gap, try to get it to those far trees in the middle. I'm throwing in FD here, and I just did not turn it over enough, so I end up hitting pretty early. Oh, this is going to be a super tough shot for me because I do not have a sidearm, a righty sidearm anyway. So I'm trying to flip something over through this gap, and I ended up just hitting a tree and kicking into the woods a little bit. Luckily, I've got the berg to come to the rescue, so I'm going to try to pitch up with my berg, maybe try to even give it a little bit of run with this lefty stretch forehand. And just over the top. So, got to throw the berg X2. It's much closer, but we're going to go ahead and tap in for our par here to end the round. And yeah, that was a nice 18 holes on Cliffside, a Warrior's Path. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. All right, that'll do. Ooh, a little short. That'll be
Cosmic Fury. Oh. No. Ooh. Don't do it. Actually not too Oh, it's gonna be a tough second. Oh no.